I think the toughest step is the first. So to bring in some of my science background, there's the rule of conservation of momentum. It's
Mhm.
the idea that an object at rest stays at rest, and an object in motion stays in motion. And the biggest element is getting in motion. And some of that motion might be listening to podcasts. Listen to podcasts like this, help to get an understanding of what's going on. Might be reading books, but at some point you got to take that first step.
Mhm.
And that is the toughest for so many investors. I was fortunate enough, we had a little bit of equity in our primary home. We opened up a HELOC. I used that money to buy my first one. And I had some learning. Like I wanted to do some things on my own, find a good tenant, advertise, interview, do all that stuff. But it has been such a wonderful gift to our family.
Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Pros podcast. I'm Kristen Knapp, and I'm here with AJ Exner, who's a broker and investor. He's over at LoanBidz, which is a hard money DSCR brokerage firm. So we're excited to have you. Thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Yes, I want to jump into your really interesting background and the way you got into, the brokerage world.
Yeah.
You didn't start in this world, right?
No, not at all.
Yeah. Tell us more about that.
Yeah. So I'd say my journey certainly started in college. I went and first thought was to be a doctor. And I'll tell you right now, the class load of organic chemistry, physics, and anatomy kicked my butt.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? School is a lot. So I'm actually a biology major by trade. I got my master's in plant science, which is just as exciting as it sounds. Focused on genetic breeding. And so took my knowledge of DNA, pursued careers with crime scene investigation, spent about 5 years doing that, pivoted that into private laboratory testing, which kind of cascaded in 2020 to COVID testing, which took up a majority of my life, as it did many others. But I was oftentimes the one shoving the swabs in people's brains. So that was myself. You're welcome for the people that I had to do that to. And then really just kind of by happenstance, we ended up with a friend of mine who was a part of this firm called LoanBidz, had reached out as kind of a point of transition for me and my family and said, what are your thoughts on loans? And at the time, my only experience was my primary mortgage and some student loans that I had paid off. So I said, I don't have any thoughts on loans. And he said, hey, why don't you come and check in the shop, talk about it a little bit? And I really haven't looked back since. That would have been the end of 2022. I started with the company in January of 23, and really it's been a wonderful time since then.
Wow. I mean, COVID must have been such a stressful time for you working in that
You
industry.
know, it was wild because I remember in February of 2020, I think I was at Chick-fil-A with my family and getting calls from the lab, getting calls from local health department officials saying, hey, do you think this is going to be a thing? I mean, genuinely having those conversations in the
Yeah.
beginning of 2020. And it's like, maybe we'll prepare just in case it is. And obviously it
It's a thing.
I think we scaled, and by the time 2021 hit, I think we were the leading private testing lab in the state of Missouri. And
Wow.
so it scaled quickly. It was crazy, kept me really busy, certainly during that time. But glad it's over. We're
Yeah,
glad to
definitely.
be behind it.
Probably a lot of burnout.
Yeah. But I met some great people, and I think that's kind of been my theme through whether it's investing or anything that I've done in the past has been just maintaining connections with people and trying to treat people well in the midst of everything.
Yeah, I love that. And, transitioning into this new career, what did you take from your genetic studies? Like, how was it kind of a lateral move? Or like, what was so interesting about this to you?
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
Yeah. So with that, I mean, heavy math guy, especially as a crime scene investigator, a big part of your work is probability and statistics because you're saying, hey, it's not very likely that this DNA would come from anybody else and then you would have to support that based on statistics. And so I'd say having a pretty heavy math background was a big part, especially as a broker when you're crunching numbers and you're looking at loan to value, loan to cost, loan to after repair value, and you're looking at percentages of purchase price to rehab and interest rates and everything else. It helps to kind of have that background. So I'd say that was a big part. But I think even in the midst of doing what I did, I still felt a little bit like an outcast. I enjoy people too much. And there would be days, especially as a working in the crime lab where you never talk to anybody. You put your headphones in, you do your job, and you'd leave at the end of the day. It was truly a punch a clock kind of job. And I was thankful for the people and thankful for the work I did. But yeah, it kind of wears on you. And so for me, being able to take that aspect of what I used to do and help people with it, work with investors all across the country to achieve their dreams, to help them to create generational wealth has just been so enjoyable for me, and certainly one I've been able to apply to my own life even.
It's amazing. Yeah. And it really is an industry where you're really helping people. You're helping people grow their, generational wealth or buying a home for the first time. So
Yeah,
it really does make a difference.
absolutely. And there's always the fun part's like you always got buddies who are, once you start investing, you've always got somebody who's like, oh, I've been thinking about doing that.
Yeah.
And then you're like, all right, let's do it. And then I go, well,
Yeah.
and so then you get to have those conversations of like, I've got a really, really good friend who he's working on buying his first investment. And I've been working on him for a while. And a lot of it is just kind of building up the courage and showing him the numbers, running through the numbers over and over again.
Absolutely.
And it's been really sweet.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think investing, when you're doing it for the first time, it's so scary and it's so unknown and the market's changing and you don't know if it's the right time. And I think people like you probably add more clarity because it's very you can give hard information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're paid to also be realists.
Yeah.
I think we were, talking off camera a little bit and saying, hey, like when I work with a first timer investing in Detroit, like investing in Detroit is tough. And you have to have expectations of like, hey, this is the leverage you're going to get. Or, hey, if you want that leverage, this is the rate you're going to get. And it's like, well, that's a high rate. Yeah. And you're a risky borrower because you're investing at a state, you're investing in an area that is notoriously difficult. And like, they'll lend to you, but it's going to be worth it for them too. And so, once you can walk through people, help them to manage expectations, I think it gives you that little sense of peace in the midst of the chaos.
Of course. Of course. And so what would you say to someone who's maybe investing for the first time? What are some misconceptions or
Man,
borrowing for the first time?
yeah, I think the toughest step is the first. So to bring in some of my science background, there's the rule of conservation of momentum. It's the idea that an object at rest stays at rest and an object in motion stays in motion. And the biggest element is getting in motion. It's not, and I would argue that some of that motion might be listening to podcasts, listen to podcasts like this, help to get an understanding of what's going on, might be reading books. But at some point, you got to take that first step. And that is the toughest for so many investors. I was fortunate enough, we had a little bit of equity in our primary home. We opened up a HELOC. I used that money to buy my first one. I said, let's just do a buy and hold. And I had some learning. Like I wanted to do some things on my own, find a good tenant, advertise, interview, do all that stuff. But it has been such a wonderful gift to our family, getting ready to refinance that one, as well as another one we just got done rehabbing for the first time, which was a whole new experience in and of itself. But getting good tenants in there, making a little bit of cash on the side. Like now I'm going to pull out, I just got my quote back from my refinance, hoping to pull out my HELOC and a little bit more, which, see the numbers on paper and be like, yes, I'm not crazy. Like this is doable, even for somebody who doesn't have a background in it.
Right.
It's been good.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency. It's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
Yeah. And then when you're borrowing money, like what questions do you get from first timers a lot? I'm sure you see the same things over and over.
Is 100% financing available? And usually my answer is no. Or if it is, you don't want it. There's an element of you want a little bit of buy-in. You want some skin in the game. When it's somebody else's money, they dictate the rules. And so when you're able to maintain a little bit of control in that sense, keeps some skin in the game, keeps you accountable, keeps you chugging along. But also just wanting to know like what it looks like timing, and I'm one that I think the lesson you'll learn sometimes is just as valuable as the money. So, I learned in my first project, I'm like, all right, I learned, I think the first thing I did was I put on Facebook, and I put a rental or in a college town. So I was like, oh, I'm going to put it on Facebook. Well, here's the deal. I'm a millennial. Facebook's outdated. And I was, casually, when I was getting tenant application via Facebook, I was getting Facebook quality tenant applications. And so I was like, God, I'm just not getting the people that I want. And so I had to do some digging, I had to do some research, and I figured out how to get around that. And I found just a great tenant. He just renewed his lease for another year. I have him set up on ACH, automated payment. So first of every month I get his check, automatically set into my account, and I'm able to use that money and make improvements. And we're already looking for hopefully our next rehab project.
Yeah. Yeah. I imagine just finding your team, finding your tenants, that's the hardest part, is when you're really working with people.
Yeah. And that's a big part of what I do. I've got obviously a part-time job as an investor and full-time job as a broker to investors. And I think that's my big part. My sales pitch as a broker is, let me just be a part of your team. I'm not here to gouge you. We're a big enough firm that we get wholesale pricing with, some of the largest lenders and providers of DSCR and hard money in the nation. And so with that, like I'm going to keep it pretty thin. For me, I want to work more on quantity. So, we're working on deals where it's like, hey, I'm going to make sure that, you're not paying that much more, if any more, if you went through us than if you went to this exact same lender direct.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be able to provide you the opportunity to scale, to grow, and allow me to just be a part of the team. Let me be the finance guy.
Right.
And so we're able to kind of work in that sense, build that team. And again, whether it's that side or as an investor myself, like building, hey, found a really good drywall guy, and I had to dig through. I think we found him on page 3 of Google search. So it's taken time. It's doing the work and then jumping into it.
Yeah. And LoanBidz is a huge company. You guys have, a lot of people working with you, and you guys have a lot of experience.
Yeah, we do, especially for the kind of the C-suite level. Our CEO, Damon Reel, he's done everything from top to bottom, working with Wells Fargo, US Bank, developing out mortgage programs. And and here he is in Springfield, Missouri, spending time with his grandkids when he could be retiring on the Turks and Caicos somewhere. And so he just such a wealth of knowledge. And I think even beyond that, he cares for people very well. And so, he's going to work alongside you. He's going to help you find solutions. If it's outside the box, help you get to where you need to go, both again as an employee, but then also as a client of LoanBidz. And so it helps us to be better brokers and work with our clients a little bit better.
It's amazing. And you work nationwide. Do you have to be knowledgeable of every market, essentially?
To a certain degree, yes. You
Yeah.
obviously have your hot markets. We're seeing a lot of work down in Alabama, Ohio. A lot of your Midwest markets we're pretty active in. Just being Midwest brokers, it's kind of who we connect with the most. But a lot of stuff on the East Coast as well. We're always in tune with what's going on in Florida with insurance requirements, North Carolina, different price points. So a lot of times it helps us as brokers when we know, especially like after repair values. Understanding like somebody comes to me with a valuation up in Ohio of like, yeah, the ARV on this thing's gonna be 300. I'm like, what part of Ohio are there properties that are worth $300,000? And so we have to like dig in. We're pulling, property data. We're looking into comps.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
So we're oftentimes even, if we get a bad appraisal, like we will help the client put together an appraisal appeal and
Wow.
dispute it with them. And so we're on their side of the table. And so
Yeah.
with that, our knowledge of, closing anywhere from 15 to $20 million a month in loans gives us a pretty good grasp on whether maybe it's not me, but I know somebody else in my office does a lot of work in Ohio. So I can go walk down the hallway, talk to Brian and say, hey, Brian, what are you seeing in Canton and Akron and Columbus to really understand, hey, what's going on with this deal, to where maybe it's like, again, maybe it's managing expectations of our client and saying, hey, this isn't possible. We need to trim scope of work back. We need to, keep that a little bit, cinched up, or like, hey, I think we've got a point to really dispute this. And so it's working as a team, finding solutions and making it happen.
That's so impressive. Yeah, you guys really have to just have your finger on the pulse of so many areas.
So many areas. I mean, we were all chatting about the Fed meeting yesterday, figuring out what's going on. Inevitably, all of our money, not that we had a betting pool or anything like that, but rates weren't going to change. The news will go up, they'll go down. There's, threats, there's tariffs, there's everything. And it's like, you know what? The rates have been at 6 and 7 since the beginning, since January 1. And so for us, it's building out, like, again, laying down expectations. Maybe it's tampering the heightenedness. Investing, it costs money, and a lot of instances it costs a lot of money, and people, their livelihoods are oftentimes at stake. And so sometimes we're also therapists and saying, hey, like, it's going to be okay. Like, we're going to get this done. Trust your guys. Stay in the course. And it's even sniffing out like unrealistic expectations, where it's, hey, I had a client in California last month who, hey, this guy's offering me this. We were halfway through the process. We already had an appraisal back. And he goes, well, this guy says he can do this. I looked at it. I said, show me the numbers. I looked into it. I was like, this doesn't exist right now. In this market, this doesn't exist. And he was like, well, he says he could. People say a lot of things. And he ran off, came back 2 weeks later and said, yeah, it didn't happen. The numbers started changing. I was like, yeah, that makes sense. And so we closed him, got him a great rate on a rehab that he had just finished. And so it really does help, and it helps us to be better partners.
Yeah, you guys seem like you are straight shooters and not trying to do any funny business. You're just going by the data in the market.
Yep, wild transparency. It's really one of our core values. I would argue it's almost cost me a few deals. When you tell somebody like, hey, appraisal came in back, lender's getting kind of squirrely, and the rate or the leverage might drop. Well, I got to find something else. Yeah, we're going to work on it. We're going to get you an exception because this is your basis for it. And then, 24 hours later, as they're scrambling, you come with the solution. They go, oh, I talked to 2 other people. It's like, well, don't worry about it. We got the solution. Here it is. And it is what it is.
Yeah. And what would you say to people who are a little hesitant with the current market or unsure? What is your perspective on everything?
Do you want candid or professional answer?
Let's get candid.
Candid, good. More deals for me. I mean, honestly, the market is still good for investors. People are timid, not just as like entry level investors, but also as first time home buyers. We've got some young guys here in the office that, they're trying to buy their first home. They're like, these rates are high, or these prices are this or that. And it's like, all right, like there's still plenty of opportunities out there. And so sometimes it's about figuring out what you want to do, what your buy box is. And then like, all right, I want to stick to this, or what does it look like for me to do this? And sometimes the answer I have to give people is get some more money. Like, hey, you don't want to, it's like, hey, I'm strapped for cash. I'm giving everything I've got to make this deal happen. And it's like, okay, how much do you have left? Nothing. Okay, so you're literally doing everything. Yes. Okay, don't do that. Like, you want to be wise. You don't, these anybody who spent some time investing can see how deals get sideways quickly. And you want to have expectations of yourself of like, hey, what am I capable of? And including like the funding wise. And maybe your first deal is wholesaling. Like we work with a lot of wholesalers. I'm good friends with a few, and like some of them are young, right out of college guys. They're on the grind and earning that money so that they can invest on their own. And it is like, it's challenging, but it's going to reward the people who are willing to take risks. And
Yeah.
I lovingly have some clients who good salt of the earth people, but they're just lovable goofballs who have stumbled their way into real estate empires without even realizing it. So it's very possible being diligent, being willing to say yes at times is going to be the biggest difference.
Definitely. And I think people are probably it's just kind of the climate of the market right now where people are waiting and waiting, and they're waiting for it to get to a better place. And sometimes that is really slow to happen.
Most of the times it is. And so it's, again, like I bought my first investment and my interest rate was 8, and it was a buy and hold. Like it was just but I ran through the numbers. I looked at it at 8%. And I said, okay, I think I knew my area well. So that's my market advantage, is I know my market very well, especially here in Springfield, Missouri. So I looked and looked, I saw the area. It was a 3-bedroom. And I was like, man, I think I can get this rent out of a 3-bedroom in this area. And so I jumped on it. It was just an MLS listing. It wasn't through, a wholesaler or anything like that. It was just a recently rehabbed 3-bedroom in a really good part of town by the university. And I was like, I can get good rent out of this. I know it. And so we had some money set aside. We were ready to pull the trigger, waiting for the right opportunity. And we did. And it was scary. I had to learn some things the hard way, but I've got a great tenant in there. We actually had some power outages here in the Midwest during this. We've had a really wild spring, a lot of like wind and storms and power outages. And so it's like I'm able to text him and, kind of build at least a somewhat of a relationship, try to keep a safe distance, relationally, professionally, but also like I texted him. I'm like, hey man, you doing okay? Do you have power? Do you need anything? Like, do you need some water? And helping each other out, trying to be a good landlord on my end and take care of my properties and my people.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of opportunity out there, and yeah, you've navigated yourself really well through it. So what's next for you?
Honestly, just kind of keep going. I've worked in a lot of different settings, in private and public spaces, and I can genuinely say this is the best place I've ever worked.
Yeah.
I try to remind, I'm probably one of the more senior account executives, not by experience, but just by age, natural seasoning in that sense. And so I got some young guys that, maybe this, I don't think is their first job, but they've, done some sales jobs. They're kind of, here and there, and especially early on, trying to build your kind of Rolodex, your portfolio of business. And there's fear, there's trepidation on their end as salespeople. And it's encouraging them to say, hey, like sometimes it's about the environment and the people you work with. And, this is just a great place to work. And then being able to invest on my own. Like I did not grow up in a house that, if something went wrong, we called somebody to fix it. And so we are not a very handy family growing up, but it's been really fun to, like, for me, YouTube is my friend. And so it's been really fun. My last rehab project, I did a lot of drywall work and I learned a lot of skills. And it was nice to work on it when it wasn't my house, so that when I finished the rehab in May, we finally got tenants moved in June. And I think my basement flooded end of May. So we had a bunch of mitigators, rip out 2 feet of drywall all the way around our house. And so I went and picked up some drywall and I said, you know what, I'm going to save some money. I'm going to do this myself. And it's been fun to kind of take those skills and apply it for my own life, whether it's via work, home, or homework, like it all is kind of blending together right now.
Yeah, definitely new challenges every day, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that's amazing. Thank you so much for doing this. It was so interesting to hear how you got into this business. And I mean, LoanBidz seems awesome. How can people work with you?
Yeah, honestly, as simple as it sounds, give me a call. If you're looking to invest, you've got some projects you're looking to refinance, and you're like, hey, my local banks, like, they're getting kind of weird. They're doing some funny things. DSCR loan is meant for the investor. It's meant to be simple. It's meant to be straightforward, not worrying about tax returns or W-2s. So, if you're looking for a refinance, just give me a call. Is it okay if I share my
Yeah,
number with you
please.
now? Great. Yeah, my direct line is 417-427-612. Give me a call, give me an email. The email is just AJ, the 2 letters, at loanbids.com, and that's BIDZ. Yeah, give me a call, shoot me an email, even if it's just like, hey, I'm looking to get started. What do I need? We're about that. And then I think I've been told by my higher ups that I need to do better at Instagram. So working on that too right now, trying to just show our renovation, show our journey. I've got 2 little boys. Let's see here, 9 and 4. I'm with my wife, and we renovated that house together. It's actually the house we renovated was right across the street from our primary house. So so we're able to do that, share our journey as well. And so just love to connect with anybody who's looking or just wants to meet somebody new.
Amazing. Well, I encourage everyone to please check that out. It's really great to have your number. So everybody, please, if you're looking to borrow, Jay's your guy.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Kristen. I appreciate the time.
And then everyone, thank you for listening, and we'll see you back next time. Bye.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.